Hey, hey, hey. Urban politics in the building. You know what it is. Stylistics, break up to makeup. That's all we do. It's a game for fools. You know, what can I say? Sometimes politics is a game for fools. Maybe that's why I like it so much. That's a fresh little song right there. And I would suggest that you listen to that in your leisure, you know, when you got some time. But right now, you're here for what I'm here for. And that's a little politics. So let's get right into it like a car in drive. First of all, the presidential debates, gotta talk about them. It was a Tuesday night. It was horrific. It was horrible. I've never seen such in my life, and I've been watching politics for a long time. I think Jake Tapper said it best. He said it was a ish show inside a dumpster fire on a train wreck. I'm paraphrasing, but basically he's something like that, and he was correct. It was all types of wrong and horrible. Trump told an avalanche of lies. It was embarrassing. You know, other countries see this, and we're laughing stock around the country. We have been. I saw a thing on Facebook, and they were showing some of the floats that around the world that are in different parades and stuff, and the way that they mock Trump and are mocking America, it's something. And it's sad. You know, Americans and America has always been, I think, kind of known or considered to be like kind of the dim-witted country or whatever. You know, I think a lot of people look at America as the youngest country on the world scene, but with a whole bunch of money. You know, so we're the kid with a bunch of money. You know, we got most of that money from slavery, but that's another conversation. But point being, that's the way the world looked at us. But these days, they pity us. They used to laugh at us. Well, now they're laughing at us and they're pitying us because they understand that our standard bearer really doesn't take democracy seriously, and the rest of us are paying a price for it. So that's interesting. Like I said, it was embarrassing. It was sad. Trump behaved like a child. He kept on interrupting Biden, and I understand. You know what? A debate is a debate. You know, an interruption here and there is understandable, but not every other line. I mean, every other line, he was cutting the man off, trying to talk over him. It was ridiculous. Biden told Trump in one instance, he said, "Man, shut up." Then he told him that, "Man, you're the worst president in history." That was true. Called him a clown. And there it is, you know what I'm saying? And then I see the video where they asked Joe Biden, maybe you've seen it too on the internet, they said, you know, do you feel bad about calling the president a clown? And he said, no. He said, I don't feel bad about anything I said because everything I said was the truth. Amen to that, brother. It was. You know, I mean, Trump just did his Trump thing. He acted like a petulant child, and he embarrassed us all on the microphone like he does. Anyway, Biden told Trump, like I said, to shut up. President Trump, actually, he refused to denounce white supremacy. Now, that shouldn't surprise anybody. It didn't surprise me. I've went on record on this show as saying, and you've heard it other places, our president is a racist. He is a racist. His father was in the KKK, and he is a racist. He retweets neo-Nazi stuff. He's referred to African countries as ishhole countries. There goes my African American. Look at my African American. This guy is a racist. We all know it. It's all been solidified. So, when asked to denounce it, he couldn't do it. And it's interesting because it seems more white people took issue with that than black people. I had a zillion white people come up to me, and that was the first thing out their mouth. Really? Somebody asked you to denounce white supremacy, and you can't do that? That seemed like a no-brainer. You know, that, and that's how I said that was a lie. Jake, you know what I'm saying? Christopher Wallace, he lobbed that at him. That was a lob. That was low-hanging fruit. Real easy for the president to pick that off and be like, yeah, I denounce white supremacy in all of its forms. He could have said that right then and there. And it wouldn't even be, food for fodder. It wouldn't even have been anything to talk about. But it's news now and it's something to talk about because he didn't do it. I knew he wouldn't do it. Now, a lot of people on the right sit there and they say, well, he didn't do it because he doesn't like to say anything bad about people who like him. That's stupid. And let me tell you something. There's groups that I take issue with. If they came on here and they was like, yeah, Fizz Ed Music, we like him, we like his show. If it was a group I didn't agree with, I'd be like, well, they like me, that's cool. I don't like them. And I don't like anything that they stand for, and I denounce them and everything that they do. I'm not a part of it. So they like me, they can do that from afar, but they're not going to get any love or support from me, behind that. He didn't do that, and he won't do that. And don't tell me just because it's a fan that he has. Granted, he needs all the votes he can get right now, but that still is it's no excuse to go wrapping your arms around the likes of the Proud Boys in the name of getting some extra votes. So that's garbage. Moving on. They said the next debate, what they're going to do is make it to where the moderator can cut off mics But then some other people were saying that might actually make it worse, because could you imagine that? What if they had cut Trump's mic and he was still talking? That even make it more distracting. Then you got Joe Biden over here, but then you still kind of want to hear what Trump was saying in a rebuttal, but it'd be muffled because there'd be no mic on. Stupidness. So I don't know. I mean, that might be as good ideal as any, but I still don't think that's really going to work with this guy. Trump is just an unprecedented type of individual. A friend of mine who is a Republican, you know what he told me about Trump? He said, here's a guy who's never been checked. He said, you and I know what it is to be checked. At some point in your life, somebody checked you. Hey, cut it out. Don't do that. Sit down. Be quiet. And you had to kowtow to that authority. Trump has never had to kowtow to any type of authority. And he's correct. I had read an article a little while ago, a couple years ago, about a woman who grew up with him, and not about her, but she was talking about Trump, and she said he was the kid at the party, always throwing the cake. Everybody was having a good time, eating their cake, having fun. He was throwing cake at kids, trying to get a rise out of them, trying to start something. And he did that because there was no retribution. It wasn't like he was going to go home and Fred was going to give him crap for that. If anything, Fred was going to high five his son, who's a little jerk, like he was a jerk. Anyway, moving on. So that's what we're dealing with. So I don't know how they do debates with this dude. They're going to have to figure something out. But the next debate needs to be a whole lot better. People were saying with that debate, America lost. I agree. And the real reason America lost is because we had one adult up there in Joe Biden who was trying to talk about issues and move the conversation forward. And then we had a kid up there too by the name of Trump who didn't know how to shut up and kept interrupting and wanted to make it all about him and the talking points that he was trying to push. Anyway, moving on. I wanted to talk about early voting. Vote early, vote often. I tell people that all the time. That's what I do. When I go out here and they're like, are you registered to vote? I tell them, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I vote early and I vote often. So that's what's good. That's what's good. You should be doing the same. How do you do that, you may ask? Let me tell you. What you can do is go down to the BOE. Starting October 6th. To the 16th. It's going to be weekdays only. And then there are still dates after that you can do early voting. I want to say all the way up until November 3rd, you can do early voting. Please call this number, this 252-3100. If you're here in Columbus, Ohio, anywhere, it'd be 1-614-252-3100. That is the number to the Board of Elections. It's at 1700 Morris Road, Columbus, Ohio, 43229. You can go down there, and like I said, from October 6th to the 16th, you can cast your vote. Please do that. I'm planning to go down there and do a little early in-person voting. If you can't do that and you still want to vote absentee or you still want to vote at your polling location, please call the number 252-3100, 1-614-252-3100. They're great. Call that number and they'll let you know where you need to be, when you need to be there, and what you need to bring to vote, because you might need ID and all that other stuff. So that's good stuff. Please check that out. Like I said, vote early, vote often. This election coming up, they talk about the most important election of a lifetime. It just may be. It just may be. And and I hate to say that. It sounds so cliche. They say that every election. But this election in particular, because of this guy, democracy hangs in the balance. We're poised to lose it in a big way. A lot of fights we've already lost. A lot of appellate court judges are white supremacists. They've already been appointed. 240 some of them. So law in this country has been etched in stone for years. And it ain't law that views people like me kindly. I'll leave it at that. So we need to get up on it. The Supreme Court battle, we may have lost that. I say may because there's things around that. If you pay attention when they asked Joe Biden about packing the court, he did say he wasn't going to do that, but he shies away from that because I get the notion that if Democrats need to pack the court, they will. What I mean by that is, we got if we had 9 people on the court or whatever, because they want to have that majority, and they have a Republican majority on the court or a conservative majority on the Supreme Court, they can just add more judges to the court, because it doesn't say anything in the Constitution about how many number of judges you have to have on the Supreme Court. So that's an option. But so far we've lost that, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute here, with Miss Corbett and where that might be going. But that is what it is. It is what it is. So moving on. October 2nd, the president announced that him and the first lady had COVID. I was blown away. I'm sure a lot of other people were too. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't as happy as I thought I would be. Do I feel sorry for the man? It's hard to feel sorry for a guy who's always talking smack about people, who did not listen to the scientists right in his orbit, right in his environment. He's got some of the most intelligent and highly sought after scientist, Dr. Fauci, right there. And he didn't want to listen to him. He got mad when he felt like they were more popular than him because people wanted to hear from them and not from him. They're scientists, you're not. So that happened. They claim they got it from Hope Hicks. Then you're going to say Hope Hicks probably got it from the military and law enforcement. They're always around us because they love us so much and we've done such a great job. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Who cares where she got it from? She could have got it from anybody. She's been hanging around you. Y'all been having these big old open rallies. Nobody's wearing a mask. I seen Bill Barr all hugged up with Kellyanne Conway, who also has it. All, dapping up Chris Christie, who also has it. All of y'all were touching each other, carousing with each other. You've seen the pictures on the internet and on Instagram. Me too. So y'all asked for this. You got what you asked for, and there it is. So who knows where Hope Hicks got it from? She should change her name to Hopeless Hicks. She's the one who gave it to him and the First Lady. But really, I think he had it before then. The Bidens tested negative for it. Thank God for that. How about this? They didn't even get a heads up from the Trump campaign. Nobody called them from that administration to say, hey, Mr. Biden, you were on stage with a man who is positive for COVID-19. You might want to be checked. Your wife might want to be checked. Whoever else was there, part of your party, might want to get checked. None of that. They said they found out about it from the news. I tell you, ain't that is just so Trump-esque to not even care enough to call somebody and say, hey, I may have affected you with a deadly virus that could kill you and your family. Can't even drop them a dime on that, huh? That's our president, always a class act. Anyway, it's ridiculous. Like I said, Joe, he tested negative. Here's the thing. Can you believe that Fox News wanted or suggested that Joe Biden suspend his campaign for 14 days? The 14 days that the president's going to be in quarantine at Walter Reed Hospital. Are you serious? I thought that was laughable. But how about this? Joe Biden, in a stunning move, because like I said, I wouldn't have did it. They said he pulled all negative ads. They said he was like, I'm going to pull all negative ads while this is going on. He called the first family and he wished them well. He wished them a speedy recovery. Told them he was praying for them. Joe Biden, a class act all the way. He's a better man than me. I'm not going to lie. It would be hard to do that with this guy. Some of the things that he's done has been so egregious. And then you actually have people who sit on the right, who have the audacity to not understand or be mad why a lot of liberals or just people who aren't necessarily conservatives have no care about this. You know what I'm saying? Who are not sad at all that he's got COVID-19. I'm like, why would they have any care about that? He hasn't cared about anybody ever. He's made fun of handicapped people. He's talked about how he could just grab women by the because he's famous. He's called African countries ish-hole countries. Come on now. Are you serious? So why would anybody... He made fun of people wearing masks. He made fun of Joe Biden for wearing a mask. Are you serious? He turned wearing a mask into a culture war when it's not a culture war. It's just about being healthy and safe. This fool did that. So are you really going to cry tears for this dude when he ends up with it? I was watching a show a long time ago and a guy was talking and you know what he said? He said, there is a God and her name is Karma. So some of that, karma. And karma is a what? You know what it is. Starts with a B. It's a family program. I won't even repeat it. But you've heard the saying. It is. And he got bit in the butt by karma. And it is what it is. Hey, how about this? I am not happy that he got it. But I'm not sad that he got it. I mean, all I can say about this is really it's good riddance to bad rubbish. If something bad happens, so far they say he's doing good. I hope that maintains. He's in the beginning of it, so he's still got a long way to go with this thing. Let's hope that he's had a lot better outcome than the 2004 plus Americans who are dead now. They're going now. And there's a woman on TikTok who said some very good things about how he's going to Walter Reed Hospital. He's going to get the best care. You know what I'm saying, for medical workers and stuff. He's going to get ventilated and all that stuff that he needs, he's going to get. There's plenty of Americans who didn't get that. She said he's going to get stuff that wasn't good enough for your husband, wasn't good enough for your wife, wasn't good enough for your auntie, and she died in there. I know some people who have lost loved ones to this. Lost them. He'll probably get over this because he has the best health care that money can buy. What about them? Right now, this same man who you want me to feel sorry for, who you want me to have compassion for, is in the Supreme Court trying to take away millions of people's health care. Millions of people access to this same care that he's getting. Scratch that. Not the same care that he's getting. probably several levels under the care that he's getting, but it's something. He don't even want them to have that something. So once again, I say, good riddance, the bad rubbish, if anything happens. What does this do? What does this mean for the election? You know what it means for the election? It puts the focus on COVID. I guess I was reading, an article, and that's what the Joe Biden campaign said. They pulled the negative ads because they said, we're not going to play negative ads talking about how he's floundered the COVID thing because it's obvious. He has it right now. So that's beating a dead horse. I agree with that. At that point, come on, you're just stating the obvious, and we're not going to rehash the obvious. Obviously, he screwed up with COVID. He has it, and he's the president. So no need to beat that dead horse. And then it also puts the focus on so many other issues we have. We have joblessness. We have people who don't have homes anymore. Okay, we got an immigration problem around here. We have a social justice problem around here. We have a racism problem around here. We have a white supremacy problem around here. We got a lot of problems in America that we need to attend to, and we don't need to deal with this orange guy with bad hair who always puts the focus on him. So that's one of the upsides of him getting COVID and him kind of being away for a while. A lot of people were saying that they didn't even believe he had it. The only thing and I agree with that too. I mean, let me tell you, 100 people hit me up and said they don't believe he got it. Another 100 people hit me up and said they do believe he has it. I agree with all 200. How about that? Because I don't know. This guy is such a shapeshifter. He's been so disingenuous. He's been so dishonest. We have no idea of knowing if he even actually has it. Now, a friend of mine who is a Republican, who's what I call a money Republican. I've talked about him on this show, one of my brothers. I love him to death. I'm not going to say his name, but because I don't want to put nobody on blast like that. But he had sent me a picture of some stock that has something to do with some drug that they were even mentioning, that this experimental drug that he's getting at Walter Reed. Already they've put out the name of the company and put out the name of the drug, and then he said, look at how the stock is moving on it now. And Trump is a stock guy. He's a money guy. So there's that. This could all be a ploy just to sell some drugs. Who would not, who would not believe that? He was just pushing hydroxychloroquine, whatever that is. And so this could be something else that he's doing. This could all be a ploy just to sell some drug or whatever that he's going to claim gets rid of the virus so that he can make a ton of money. So I just don't know. You don't know either. Like always, protect yourself and watch this space. As Rachel Maddow says, watch this space because I'm gonna keep on it. We're going to see what happens with our president and the first lady. And like I said, though, I don't wish anybody death. I don't wish anybody ill. But what did Malcolm X say? Chickens coming home to roost. And he said, as a country boy, chickens coming home to roost never made me sad. I ain't a country boy. I'm from the city. But guess what? Chickens coming home to roost sounds like some good eating. Anyway, moving on. I want to talk about Mitch McConnell going full steam ahead with his Supreme Court nomination, or with the Supreme Court nomination. He ain't stopping. He ain't missing a beat. Mitch McConnell said if he had to, he would do Zoom conferences, and they will get this thing done. They want to get it done. Conservatives want to get it done. This will probably be the highlight of Mitch McConnell's career. A lot of conservatives who have been in this political game for a long time, this is what they've wanted. They'll get Amy Barrett, and what they will get is they'll get Roe versus Wade out of there. They'll get Obamacare out of there. They'll get women's rights out of there. They'll get LGBTQ/MB rights out of there. All that stuff's going the way of the dodo. I hope I'm wrong. A lot of times I've said stuff on this show and I've hoped I was wrong, and I wasn't wrong. I was right. But they've wanted all this. And why would they stop at Roe versus Wade? I mean, that's a big deal. And conservatives have wanted that for a long time. I talk to a lot of them, and they say stuff like, well, you really can't say anything about Republicans when you're, have credence for the party of infanticide. Really? They act like Democrats run around just talking about killing babies. That is not what's going on here. But a lot of them are on that. So Roe versus Wade, getting rid of that is top on their priority list, and they're going to do that. And there's some people who agree with that, and I understand that. I'm not comfortable with abortion at all. Saying the word abortion makes me cringe inside. But guess what? I do believe that a woman's right to choose, that's her right. And I believe that that's something that's between her doctor, and her God. And I do believe that women should have access to safe and legal abortions. That's what's up. I'm a progressive. I don't know what to tell you. So, and there's some people who don't get with that. I've talked to a lot of women who tell me, hey, I never have one, but if a woman wants to have one, that's her choice and her body, and that's her, that's her choice. She should be able to do what she wants to do with her health care and her body. So that is what it is. There's a lot of people getting rid of that. Obamacare, we already talked about that. They dying to get rid of that. Been wanting to get rid of that. Only because it bears Obama's name, because it started with, Mitt Romney. He's the one who had it in Massachusetts. And then when Barack Obama picked it up and adopted it, made the law of the land and tweaked it a little and all that, they got mad. It had the black man's name on it. They've been fighting like dogs to get rid of it. They'll get rid of it with this lady. She will help them do that. Women's rights. Have you ever heard of something called the Lilly Ledbetter legislation? It was I think it was one of the first things that Obama signed when he got into office. Long story short, what it is legislation that made it so that a woman, if she was working at a place and then found out after 20, 30, 40, even 50 years or whatever, that she was underpaid at this place just because she was a woman, that she could still go back and sue and get that money back that they owe her. And that is named for a real life woman. Her name is Lilly Ledbetter. They showed her, she's an older white woman, and she talked about, her own case. How she said, I worked at this place for years and I was underpaid for years, and I found out later I was underpaid just because I was a woman. And, thanks to Barack Obama signing this in, I was able to take these people to court and get some, and get that justice for myself. That's a great thing. They're gonna get rid of that with this lady, Amy Corbett, and LGBTQ rights. We just went through that. These folks just now have had the opportunity to actually work at a place and not be fired because of who they're in love with or because of their sexuality. Now, I thought for years that was the law of the land. I didn't think that you could actually walk in a place and be like, hey, we know this guy's gay, I want him out of here, he's fired. Why? Because I'm the owner and I said he's gay and I don't dig that lifestyle. I did not know that you could do that in America. Up until not too long ago, you could. Supreme Court got rid of that. Guess what? It's coming back. It'll be coming back because she will help them overturn that, and that's sad. Another sad thing, and this is what the right loves to do all the time, they love to mock people, they love to make fun of things, they love to make jokes. They also love to use terminology, pop culture terminology, that they don't fully understand, and then they don't use it right. So now I got to walk them through something else. So all these milquetoast idiots, all these bland, plain Jane jerks who try and use pop culture and used this term that we're going to talk about in a minute here, they used it all messed up. It's with the Notorious RBG. Now everybody knows Notorious RBG is a nickname given to Ruth Bader Ginsburg because of her progressiveness, because of a lot of things that she fought for. So people likened her to Notorious B.I.G., who is the rapper. So then they're selling shirts, or recently, at the little thing they had in the Rose Garden to appoint this lady, or for the president to announce how he was appointing this lady, where a lot of these people got sick and caught COVID. They were selling shirts that they put the crown on her head and all that, and they're gonna call her the Notorious ACB. You know what I'm saying? Because her name is Amy Corbett Barrett. Yes, Amy Corbett Barrett. So, they call it, Notorious ACB. But it's funny because I guarantee you that she's never probably even heard a Biggie song and probably didn't even get that reference herself, or somebody, I'm sure, had to explain it to her. And they still messed it up because Notorious RBG rolls off the tongue good because there's that G in the end, because her last name was Ginsburg, just like Notorious B.I.G. What's called Biggie, Notorious B.I.G., to where Notorious ABC doesn't, because, C rhymes with G, but it doesn't flow right. So once again, the right has screwed something up. They call themselves co-opting some pop culture, and they messed it all up. When they get a hold of, call it poop culture. It was pop culture, they turned it into poop culture because they done messed the ish all up. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about the stimulus. Have you gotten yours? Some people have gotten it, some people haven't. The last stimulus had things in it like, the $600 extra for the unemployment checks. I know a lot of people was getting unemployment at the time. They got that extra $600 a week. It meant a lot. The Democrats fought to keep that, so this next time around they will have that. And this time what'll be different is the last time they said only dependents under 18 could get the $500. Because what they were doing, they were giving each taxpayer $1,200. If you were a couple, then you were getting like $2,400, and that's $1,200 for you, $1,200 for your wife, and then you were getting $500 for the dependents under 18. Now they said with this new one that they're bringing out, you'll get $500 even for dependents over 18. So that's a good thing there. There'll be money for PPE for schools, money for small businesses. These are all things that the Democrats were fighting for. That's what's kind of holding this bill up. And it still, still isn't exactly all the money that they wanted, but I guess it's better than what it was going to be. It really wasn't going to be anything because Mitch McConnell, like I said, he doesn't really have the appetite for another stimulus because he probably feels like he's going to lose his seat anyway. He's stepping out. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. None of them care because they went on vacation. And, I take that back. The Democrats did stay, and they did say that they were going to stay till this thing got figured out and solved. And it looks like they did, or they have. We'll see. Like I said, this still is in the makings, but it looks like it's closer to happening. They said it's going to happen. Mnuchin said it's going to happen. If Mnuchin the Mooch, he was the finance secretary, or the treasury secretary, if Mnuchin the Mooch says it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen. It's going to happen. So there's that. Moving on. Trump Jr. pushing housing in India. That is what it is. When I seen him talking about it, he's going to say, well, yeah, my dad became president, and then I have all these deals that I've been working on, for a lifetime, all these relationships that I'm building. I'm just supposed to throw that out the window because he's president. There's this emolument clause, and we're not supposed to get paid. Yeah, that's how that works. If you're president and you have businesses and stuff, you're supposed to put that on hold, put it in somebody else's hands, and you're definitely not supposed to be making money off the office. And that's all you've done. Your father has done that. He got Secret Service guys staying in his hotel. We're paying for that. Every time he does a golf outing, we're paying for that. Well, that's normal though. The president golfs and we pay for that. But the Secret Service, that piece, and them staying at his hotels, we're paying for that. We're paying for that. With this guy, okay, he's pushing condos in India. All right, and they said they're high-priced condos in India. They're a real estate family. This is what they do. But the thing is, if you purchase one of these condos, then you get a dinner with Don Jr. That's illegal because he is the president's son. So that is like getting at the president's ear. You would imagine that the president's son has his ear, even if it's to say, hey, Dad, I love you. I don't think that goes on in that family. But my point is, Don Jr. from time to time does get to talk to his dad, and it would definitely behoove an Indian business developer or anybody else who had political aspirations or anything politically they wanted to do to have a sit down with him and put something in his head and in his ear that he could put in his dad's ear. And we all know how subjective his dad is. All you gotta do is say, this guy really likes you, Dad, and next thing you know, he done sold something that shouldn't be for sale, or he done told him some nuclear secrets or something like that. So there's that. Is that wrong? Yes, it's wrong, but it's going on and you need to know about it. Google that, because that's some madness. Moving on. Mail found dumped in California. They said some of this mail wasn't even California mail. Mail workers were baffled. You shouldn't be baffled. DeJoy is still doing the thing, messing up the post office on behalf of his dude, Donald J. Trump. This is not a game. They are literally trying to muddy the waters. They're muddying the waters. They're messing with the mail. So if you're voting absentee ballot, do it early. Like I said, this year, I'm voting early and in person because of this. I have voted by mail for the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's been a long time. I'm 44. Probably for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I've been voting by mail. Favorite way to vote. With a cup of coffee and my robe on while I watch TV. Filling out my ballot, and I can just throw it in the mail. But this year I'm not doing that because the joy to mess that all up. I don't trust this thing. And I just know there's regular mail I haven't been getting. So Lord knows what will happen to a ballot that's in the mail. But if you can't do it any other way, please still do that. But if you can, do like me, vote early and vote in person. And then if you can't do that, vote on election day. And I seen the signs and stuff, and like they said, how about this? If you get there and there's a 3, 4, 5, 6 hour wait, you know what you do? Wait and cast that vote. Cast it. I seen something in Florida, I bet you seen it on the news too, like a 95-year-old sister. She waited 2-3 hours to vote. It might have been longer than that. She waited and she voted because it's important. People have died for it. And really, if we vote in mass, we can beat this guy. Trump just needs to lose by an avalanche of votes. If he loses by something crazy like 30 million votes, we ain't got to worry about the Electoral College or none of that, because it'll be so overwhelming that the will of the people will have to be done. So that's what it is. These numbers need to be big. We need to go to the polls and rack up those numbers. Anyway, moving on, my last little tidbit is how Trump has used $60 million of campaign money for his legal bills. That doesn't surprise me. It definitely should not surprise you either. This guy is a charlatan and a crook. He can get his hands on some money. He's going to move it around and use it as he sees fit and as he wants to. So that is what it is. Urban Politics. I want to leave you with one last thing. I've been watching a show on Hulu. It just came out, Fargo. It's got Chris Rock in it. Man, this is a really good show. I like how it talks about what is it, Kansas City, and this is back like in the 20s, 1930s, when immigrants were coming over and doing their crime thing, and these crime syndicates, these different families that were doing crime together, and they had a ritual where they had to exchange your firstborn son, because they were saying if your enemy has to raise your son, you don't have to worry about a battle or anything like that. So interesting. But what's way interesting is a scene I saw last night, and the brother had it was a black guy, and he's of course he's a member of the one gang, and the other gang, they're Italian, and their brother from Italy had came over there, and he was kind of doing things because the father was sick. And he sits there in the slaughterhouse or whatever, and basically the black guy's telling him, look, a deal was made, we're running things now. He said, well, look, I need to check with my people. If they say it's cool, fine. If not, then no, right? And then the black dude told him, said, okay, well, we're going to leave. He said, but I'm going to tell you something. He said, y'all just got here. He said, but we've been, he said, we're part of the fabric of this country, like the dirt and the trees and the wind. And that got me to thinking, that's real. And I've went on record as saying it on this show. What's more American than black people? Think about that. There are pieces of my ancestors in the foundation of the White House. What's more American than that? The bodies of slaves right now in the foundation of the White House. We're literally a part of the White House. Think about that. I just learned from a young sister on TikTok. I talked about it in that last show that I did. There are the bodies of slaves at Wall Street. Wall Street. And that's why I said, listen, the 1619 Project, I still haven't read it. Lord, I still haven't read it. I got to be honest about that. I got to find the time to read it. But let me tell you something. The premise that they make is 100% true. That is when America started. In 1619, when those slaves and 20 slaves came over on that boat, that is when it started. That's when the story of America started. You know why? That's when the money started. When we got here is when the bread started. And when the money starts is when the story starts, ain't it? That's what's up. Urban Politics. What else can I say? Please subscribe. Some of my peoples I see out there, you're subscribing. I'm going to keep bringing the news to you. We're going to keep talking this politics thing because it only gets better and better. You know why? Because politics is everything and everything is political. I'll see you around like a donut.